Hello and welcome to the guide. Are you looking for a build that can easily handle all content with good map clear that does millions of DPS? Then you've come to the right place. In this guide we will go over the mechanics of the build, gear, gems and links, Ascendancy choices, Pantheon choices, and the passive tree and cluster jewels, followed up by gameplay at the end of the video. Path of building and timestamps will be down below. Let's get right into it. So let's briefly go over the mechanics of the build. As you can see right here, our main damage output is Forbidden Rite, which will be supported by level 20 Spell Totem thanks to the Soul Mantle Spider Silk Robe. The way that Forbidden Rite works, as you can see, deals 5% of your maximum energy shield as base chaos damage, and also deals 12% of your maximum life as base chaos damage. So in turn, the more that we scale life for the totems, the more damage we put out. As you can see on the line down below those, it says takes for 40% of your maximum life and 25% of your maximum energy shield as chaos damage. So the more damage that we do, the more life it's going to be taking from the totems. Now the way that we want to counter that is by getting chaos resistance to the totems, as well as large amounts of maximum life to the totems. Right here, the Soul Mantle is pretty much a needed for this build. As you can see, it offers level 20 Spell Totem, which will be supporting the Forbidden Rite. It gives us spell damage, but the big one here is the 50% increased totem life. That's a huge damage boost for Forbidden Rite. And also this offers +1 to maximum number of totems, which is also a great quality and more DPS. Now at the very bottom you can read it inflicts a random hex on you when your totems die with 80% more effect. The way that we're going to mitigate that is by one Kikuzaru ring. As you can see right here, it says 40% reduced effective curses on you. And then on our passive tree, we're going to gain another 40% from 2 different nodes. And then also on our Pantheon choices, we're going to gain another 20%. So basically, we're going to nullify any hexes that are put on us. Now let's move into the gear. So let's start off with the wand. As you can see right here, I chose the Profane Wand. The reason that I chose the Profane Wand is because it comes with 14% increased cast speed as an implicit. From there, the stats that you want on your wand are basically spell damage, more cast speed, critical strike chance or critical strike multiplier, mana. Those are all going to be benefits to the build. So basically, you will get as much DPS as you can out of your wand by stacking, spell damage, cast speed, crit chance, crit multi, and then also mana is always a plus on this build. As for the helm, I went for the Hubris Circlet. Okay, as you can see, I have Forbidden Rite fires an additional projectile. Now you don't have to get that as an enchantment, but it's definitely a good thing to go with. That is more of a DPS boost. Overall, it's great. But if you can't afford that and you go with like a budget version, just go ahead and make sure that you get maximum life, maximum mana, and as much resistance as you can. Next we'll go to the Ami. So I chose the Jade Ami. The reason that I chose the Jade Ami is because the Jade Ami comes with 30 to dexterity. And on this one, I got spell damage, max life, and a bunch of resistances, which is great for the build. Now, you don't have to go with these exact stats on your Ami, just try to get as much life and resist as possible, and also go for the dexterity, because this build is dexterity starved. As you can see, our allocation is going to be Primal Manifestation. That is the best allocation that we can go with on this build. It gives 30% increased totem damage, 30% increased totem life, which is a huge DPS boost for our Forbidden Rite, and 30% increased totem duration. So Primal Manifestation is the anointment that we want to go with. When we go into the passive tree, I'll show you where that anointment is. Next we'll go into the shield. When it comes to the shield, you want to try to get as much resist, life, and mana as you possibly can, and cast speed if you can get it. Now, also you want to get spell damage, unless you can get a shield like this with +1 to maximum number of summoned totems. Now, it will be a little bit more on the expensive side, but it's a lot of damage. I mean, you're doing like almost a quarter more damage. It's a ton more damage. Now, if you can't afford that, you can go ahead and go with a shield kind of like this one right here. As you can see, it has 80% increased spell damage, 72 to mana, and a ton of resistances. So this would be a great shield also. This option up here, though, would be more DPS. As for rings, we want to go right here with the Essence Worm Unsent Ring. This is a needed unique in the build. because it allows us to run Zealotry without reserving any mana. For the next ring, we want the Kikizaru Topaz ring. This is a needed unique in the build as well, because it offers 40% reduced effective curses on you. We need that because we have to mitigate the 100% that we'll have of curses on here. So next we want to come to the Soul Mantle. This is a need be in the build as well. Now, when it comes to the Soul Mantle, you can go with the 5 link. You don't have to go with the 6 link. You can only afford a 5 link, go with a 5 link. Just take out faster casting. Now, if you can afford a 6 link, it's definitely worth it because it's going to be more DPS. But at first, if you can only afford a 5 link, go with a 5 link, and remember, just take out faster casting. Next, we'll go into the boots. The boots, we definitely want to have these boots in the build. Okay, these boots, as you can see, they offer 50% increased totem life. That's a huge DPS boost for our totems. We definitely want these boots. So make sure that you get these boots into the build. When it comes to the belt, just get a belt with as much life and resistances as you can. Try to get some mana on there as well. Now, when it comes to the flasks, I have pretty much this Quicksilver flask right here for my freeze and chill immunity. I have the Diamond flask, which gives us more crit strike chance, which is a huge DPS boost also, so you definitely want to put that in. I have the Granite flask for more armor and chance to block. I have the, obviously, Light flask, and this will get rid of my bleeding or corrupted blood. And then I have another Quicksilver flask. Now, when it comes to your gloves, you want to try to get a pair of gloves like these right here. Try to get as much dex as you can, as much resistance and life as you can. But the big thing on here is the Culling Strike. Basically, what Culling Strike does, as you can see right here, Culling Strike means enemies that are on 10% or lower life after you're hit or killed. So anytime that your totem brings any enemy, it doesn't even matter if it's Cyrus, to 10% life or lower, they will automatically be dead. So Culling Strike is also a huge DPS boost. So if you can, try to find a pair of gloves, obviously, fitting in your resistances and your life. But also try to find a pair of gloves that have Culling Strike, because that in itself is a huge DPS boost. So for our gems and links, right here in our wand, we have cast when damage taken, summon Chaos Golem, minion life. Now, this is just my option. It's kind of a defensive option. Basically, if I take a certain amount of damage, it'll automatically summon a Chaos Golem. And as you can see right here, the Golem offers 3% additional physical damage reduction. A little bit of a quality of life. Now, what a lot of other people do, and a lot of things that I've seen people doing, is running Fortify, faster attacks, and shield charge. Personally, I don't want to run that. I'm more comfortable just flame dashing around the map. But if you go with Fortify and shield charge, you can shield charge around the map, and then as you can see right here, Fortify grants 20% less damage taken from hits for 4 seconds. So it basically gives you a 20% buff against attack hits. Next we'll go into the helm. In the helm I just have Righteous Fire, Assassin's Mark, and Increased Duration. Now we're going to use the Val end of this skill. Val Righteous Fire offers a huge boost to our spell damage. As you can see down there, Val Righteous Fire offers 19% more spell damage. So that's a more multiplier, big DPS boost. We run Assassin's Mark. Ultimately, Assassin's Mark is just boosting our critical strike chance and damage against single target enemies. So these two, when it comes to Righteous Fire and Assassin's Mark, you only want to run those against bosses with a lot of DPS, like Cyrus, bigger bosses. I mean, normal map bosses, you don't really have to worry about it. The increased duration is basically so that these last longer. Next, we'll go into our shield. Now, in our shield, we have another cast when damage taken set up, Immortal Call, and Phase Run. So when we take a certain amount of damage, it will trigger Immortal Call, which for a short amount of time will make it to where we take 26% less elemental and physical damage. Phase Run basically makes it easier to get through packs. When this kicks in, you can go through packs a lot easier. You won't be getting stuck on different enemies. It'll help you move around the map. Now, as for our aura that we run right here inside of our Essence Worm, we want to go with Zealotry. Zealotry is going to give us a big DPS boost. It gives us more spell crit and more spell damage. So in our main setup for our Forbidden Rite, okay, so we have Forbidden Rite with Void Manipulation, increased critical damage support, increased critical strike support, volley support, and faster casting. Just remember, if you're going to run a 5 link, you'll go ahead and drop the faster casting. If not, go ahead and run all of these links to your Forbidden Rite. Okay, down here in our gloves, we have Flame Dash, Arcane Surge, and Second Wind. So basically Flame Dash, obviously mobility skill, movement skill, we can get around the map quicker, you know, get over stuff. Now, when we use Flame Dash, though, it's going to trigger Arcane Surge. As you can see down there on the very bottom, it says supported skills deal 10% more damage while you have Arcane Surge. So 10% more spell damage is a huge boost. So we want to try to keep that up as often as possible. Okay, we have Second Wind so that we're able to Flame Dash around more often. I'm actually going to go ahead and put another increased duration in here so that it keeps our Arcane Surge up after we dash for longer. Inside of our boots, we're going to have Spell Totem support, increased duration support, multiple totem support, and Wither. What Wither does is it makes it to where the enemy takes increased chaos damage, okay? And it stacks up to 15 times that 6%. So it's a huge DPS boost, okay? We have Spell Totem support, but we also have multi-totem support. So you can see that actually when I cast it right here, it'll cast 2 at one time. So it makes it easy. We just hit it one time, we got 2 totems up. So for Ascendancy choices, we want to go ahead and first off take Pursuit of Faith, which is going to give us 100% increased totem duration, 1 to maximum number of summon totems, 100% increased totem placement speed, which is great. Next, we'll take Divine Guidance, 30% increased maximum mana, 10% of damage is taken from mana before life, Transfiguration of Mind. Now, we are a Mind over Matter build, so the 10% of damage taken from mana before life is great. Also, as you can see, for Transfiguration of Mind, down at the bottom, it says increases and reduction to maximum mana also apply to damage at 30% of their value. So I've got almost 3k mana, and, you know, 30% of any increases to our mana go to our damage also, which is great. Next, we're going to go ahead and come into Ritual of Awakening. 5% more damage per summon totem. Regenerate 0.5% of mana per second for each summon totem. And you and your totems regenerate 1% of life per second for each summon totem. Last but not least, we'll come into Sanctuary of Thought. Gain 20% of maximum mana as extra maximum energy shield. 1% increased area of effect per 50 unreserved maximum mana up to 100%. As you can see in this build, we don't reserve any mana, so we have 100% increased area of effect for our totems, which is great for map clear. 50% less mana cost of skills, which is also awesome. Don't ever have to worry about our mana going down because of casting. 10% less mana reservation of skills. That one, just go ahead and void. It doesn't really help us much. Now for our Pantheon choices. As you can see right here, I went with Soul of Lunaris for our major god, basically giving more physical damage reduction and movement speed. The big one here is our minor god. I went with Soul of Yugel. We have to choose this one because, as you can see on the bottom right down there, 20% reduced effect of curses on you. This, along with our Kikazaro ring, and along with our reduced curse effect inside of our tree, make it to where we have curse immunity, which nullifies any curses that our chess piece puts onto us. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into the passive tree. We'll start off by saying, when it comes to the bandits, go ahead and kill all the bandits. We definitely want the 2 passive points. When it comes to leveling, I would suggest level up with Forbidden Rite. Super strong from early acts all the way throughout the entire game. So just go ahead and level with that. That's what I did. Now, this little node right here, and these nodes before it, and these nodes down here, are going to be the 40% more reduced effect of curses that we need to meet the 100%. Just want to go ahead and get that out of the way. So we'll start off right here, come up this way, come down, we'll grab some life, come over here, get a little bit of damage, spell damage, crit chance, Holy Dominion, we'll get some resistances, come up here, more life and mana, get Mind over Matter. Mind over Matter is a big thing so that we have damage coming out of our mana and our life. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to come up this way, we'll grab some cast speed over here. Come around here, come down. I'm going to grab this for some spell crit and crit chance. Come down here, grab some more life. I'm going to come down this way, come over here, get Arcane Capacitor. We're going to come around this way, Ancestral Bond, this will give us another totem. Make sure to come this way for the increased totem life, big DPS boost. We're going to come down here, get some more life. Grab a jewel socket right here. You'll come back and get these later. We'll be coming back over here. Come around this way. We want to come down here. Shaman's Dominion. Come up here, grab some more life, grab some mana. Come around this way. We'll grab this jewel socket. Come down here. We'll grab Annihilation. We're going to come down here. Come across here for some life. Come to here. Up to Arcane Will. We're going to come down here. Come around here to Nimbleness. Cast speed, crit multi, movement speed. Come down here, another jewel socket. Come around this way. Go ahead and grab Throat Seeker. Bunch of crit multi in these nodes right here. And we're going to come across here. Up to Prodigal Perfection. Increase spell damage. Depending on our maximum mana. Now for our anointment, remember that we got Primal Manifestation. It'll be down here. Huge one. You don't want to anoint anything else. This is the most damage that you're going to be able to get. And as you can see right here, it's the orange, verdant, and the red, crimson. So let's briefly go over the jewels for the build. Right here we have Rain of Splinters, Crimson Jewel. It gives 30% reduced totem damage, but at the same time it makes it to where totems fire an additional 2 projectiles. This is a huge DPS boost for the build, and we're definitely going to want to pick up one of these. This is optional, but I recommend it. A Clear Mind Cobalt Jewel offers mana regeneration as well as a chunk of spell damage while no mana is reserved, and we will not be reserving any mana for the build, so it's a nice addition to our damage. Up here we want to go ahead and get a Self-Flagellation Viridian Jewel. This is a given for the build. 20% increased damage per curse on you, and additional curse can be applied to you. This right here is a huge chunk of damage in itself, considering we will be cursed over and over because of our body armor. Now down here, I have a Watcher's Eye. Okay, this offers energy shield, life, mana. As you can see right there, 14% increased cast speed while affected by Zealotry. There's Watcher's Eyes with other Zealotry mods you can get, like increased spell crit and other things. Now this is not a given. I just picked this up because cast speed is very crucial with the build. You can go ahead and go with a jewel kind of like this one. You know, it has cast speed, global critical strike multiplier. You can look for spell crit, you know, at 7%, increased maximum life. Basically, you just want to go with a damage and life jewel. You do not need the Watcher's Eye. This will do just fine. For the cluster jewels, we're going to start off with our 4 passive. Okay, we want a 4 passive cluster jewel that grants 12% increased totem damage. Now, as you can see right here, it says one of the passives is Ancestral Preservation, and the other passive is Sleepless Sentries. Okay, most important one here is going to be Ancestral Preservation. This right here gives us a huge DPS boost, 30% increased totem life. Then, as you can see down at the bottom, it gives plus 40% to chaos resistance, making it to where you get more projectiles fired from your totems before they're going to die, and they're doing more damage. So this is a huge node for the build. So in your medium cluster, make sure you at least get this. If you can, try to get Sleepless Sentries also. This gives more totem duration, but the big one here is that you have Onslaught if you've summoned a totem recently. Now, if you're unaware of Onslaught, Onslaught basically gives you 20% increased attack, cast speed, and movement speed. Huge for the build. Huge quality of life, just huge all the way around. So try to get Sleepless Sentries and Ancestral Preservation for your medium. Now, I went with a small cluster right here. I wanted to get Fettle for that little bit more life. Okay, as you can see right up here, Fettle offers 20 more life and 10% increased maximum life, along with the node before it, which is 4% increased maximum life. And the actual jewel, try to go for the 2 passive, 4% increased maximum life. Now, these are pretty important, but the most important, like I said, would be right here, Ancestral Preservation. If you need to, even at a lower level, just path up and get these 2 right here. Don't even worry about these till later. You know, these are just quality of life. Now, this tree right here is for level 87. Say that you get this all done and you want to know where to put your points after that. I mean, you can come down here, you can put into life and chaos right here. You know, there are other things that you can put into. What I would suggest is the more points that you get, try to get a large chaos cluster and then branch off with 2 medium clusters out each side. Make sure that both the medium clusters that you use have Ancestral Preservation, and at least one of them has Sleepless Sentries. And then you could choose the other node, you know, whatever you wanted as far as utility. You could branch out with 2 Fettles, you know, coming out this way. But that's just more investment depending on what you do, and that would definitely be more DPS. As this build sits right now, I'm pushing just over 16 million DPS with everything that you've seen. The path of building will be down in the link below. If you guys have enjoyed this and you want to know like how you could pull even more DPS out of this build, let me know. Maybe I'll make a video on that in the future. I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys with some actual gameplay footage. Hopefully this guide was helpful. If it was, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching.